So children being born today will not use paper or metal money. We have to think about what kind of cashless society do you want to live in? Do you want your children to live in? Think about when you buy something from a corner store with cash. The merchant does not know your name, your address, what the last thing you bought, maybe what you're most likely to buy next. And you know what? They didn't need to know any of that. That was fine. But now this is being taken away from us by corporations and governments who insist that for our security, they need to know everything about us. I think this is nonsense, and I think we need to fight back. And thankfully, about a decade ago, some group of people came up with a way out.
I do think people are maybe underestimating Bitcoin.
This is bigger than the internet. It's bigger than the Iron Age. This affects the entire world.
The one thing that's missing, but that will soon be developed, is a reliable e-cash.
Is the Fed just going to print money? That's literally what Congress has told us to do.
Every fundamental indicator of Bitcoin, usage, wallets, block size, transaction size, number of transactions, hash rate, making new highs.
The system of central banking is now experiencing a worldwide crisis that's completely unprecedented. It's never happened before.
If you look at the evolution of money from when we used to have a barter system through shells, through precious metals stamped with king's faces on them, to paper money, and now to credit cards and mobile payments, someone created another way to have a money system without a central authority, and that is Bitcoin. If we think about the way digital payments work today, and again, all payments will be digital, there's a third party in the middle, whether it's Visa, Venmo, PayPal, WeChat. Someone in the middle can freeze your transaction, confiscate your funds, surveil and spy on you. With Bitcoin, your transaction is completely peer-to-peer. The payment processing is done by a decentralized global competition and not by an entity. This is a revolutionary step in human history.
And yes, the digitization of the world clearly benefits Bitcoin. If you're buying Bitcoin, your bet is that number's going to go to 120 million or to 200 million.
We had Paul Tudor Jones on yesterday, and he was talking about, QE infinity, however you want to look at it, and that maybe the time will come when you need to have some type of asset that there's a fixed amount of, and he was referring to Bitcoin. So I think maybe even Paul Tudor Jones.
Say the words. Say the
Bitcoin.
words.
I have to disclose that I own. Compared to you, I own like 3 cents out of $1 or something. You know what I mean?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Nope. Yep. Nope. Yep. Nope. Yep. Nope. Yep.
So, Joe, this is again now you're seeing a lot of lines of different thinking converge. So when we started to believe in the long-term value of Bitcoin, it was as a store of value, and it was that schmuck insurance that you kept under the mattress. And there was a small cohort of us that have believed this for like almost the last 10 years now. But when you have people like Paul Tudor Jones, sophisticated market participants, who don't necessarily come to it from that perspective because he was probably first in gold or curve steepeners or whatever, now all of a sudden even he is looking at Bitcoin. And the reason is because we are in this massive deflationary spiral. And so however you think about it, from a classic economic theory or the schmuck insurance where you're somewhat skeptical of the established governing masses, it is important that we have a hedge, a non-correlated hedge. And I still struggle to find anything that is as uncorrelated to anything else and to everything else than Bitcoin. And I think that, if we see it have its day, it's a moment where you're going to wish that you had just bought the 1% and just kept it.
If you have multiple peers who are trying to work together to do a multi-signature like this, or to do a coin join or an atomic swap, or a lightning payment channel or some other multi-party Bitcoin transaction, individual users are able to replace their keys with more complicated scripts without requiring their counterparty to either do a detailed analysis of a script, or even worse, to be able to write complicated software that is able to handle the aggregate script and produce witnesses, produce signatures, produce full transactions, do fee estimation, all of that difficult stuff. All of this we are able to do using the generic Miniscript software, which is indifferent to the policy that we use, to the number of participants that we use, to what those individual participants' policy is. It will do all of these things for you. And interoperability between users who might be using very different software themselves and have very different setups themselves is guaranteed.
Hey guys, 5 quick answers to questions many noobs to Bitcoin are too embarrassed to ask. Number 1, there is only one cryptocurrency known as Bitcoin, BTC. Don't be fooled. Number 2, you can buy a fraction of a Bitcoin. $20, $30, $50, $100. You don't have to buy a whole one. We call these denominations Satoshis. They are a fraction of a Bitcoin. You can stack sats anytime you want.
Keep stacking those sats. Keep stacking those sats.
Number 3. Altcoins are not a discounted version of Bitcoin. They are absolutely, completely different. If you go to an exchange to get Bitcoin because you're interested in Bitcoin, make sure you leave with Bitcoin, BTC. Number 4, now that you own Bitcoin, you need to take possession of that Bitcoin, which means you need to get yourself a wallet that you have the keys to, because not your keys, not your Bitcoin. Check out bitcoin.org for wallet suggestions. I personally like the Green Wallet by Blockstream, but there's a lot of really great choices out there. Figure out what works best for you. Number 5, most important one. It is absolutely okay to ask questions.
J.K. Rowling, today you tweeted asking someone to help explain Bitcoin.
This is bullish for crypto. Ivan said a really funny tweet the other day. Let's see. Unfortunately, J.K. Rowling blew her chance at being Bitcoin's messiah. I guess we'll have to settle for Paul Tudor Jones this time. Very nice. Another funny tweet. He says, "We survived plus token dump. We survived J.K. Rowling FUD. Bitcoin is officially immortal." I like this guy. He has a good sense of humor.
But really, my understanding of the system has continued to evolve every year, as new things happen. And every new thing that happens, every event that Bitcoin overcomes just strengthens my belief in the resilience of the system. And ultimately, it's less about the technical aspects and more about the human underpinning of all of the people like myself who we're just frankly not going to give up on this. We're not going to let it die. And that's kind of the mantra that I've come to believe, is that, you know, Bitcoin can't fail unless there is a consensus amongst all of us to allow it to fail.